Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of this training. In this session we will be discussing about Java tools. What are all the Java tools presently available? How can we use them? Okay. The reason behind that is some of the tools are particularly suitable for specific usage area. For other usage areas, there are several tools which can be used. Yeah. We will explain this in detail in this particular section. So these are all the tools presently available in Netweaver Java. The first one is Netweaver. First one is SAP Netweaver Administrator or SAP Netweaver Admin. Basically, it's an web-based tool. We can call from normal Internet Explorer, and in this tool is quite important because there is a lot of advantages in this tool. We will see the detail of each and every tool in the coming slides, and we will also see in the system how does it working, how can we use this tool. And the second one is Visual Administrator. Visual Administrator is a GUI tool which you can run it in your SAP system to do some configurations. Yeah. Then we have config tool. This also same like Visual Admin, but slightly different. We will see in detail what we can do with each of these tools. And we also have shell console admin. Shell console is basically the standard telnet. We can also use telnet to go to the Java tools where you can do some basic operations. Yeah, but in practical scenario we don't use much of telnet. However, if let's say some emergency cases, we can use telnet. It's quite useful in the emergency cases. Let's say the entire system is hang, you cannot just simply switch off the server. You want to see what's happening in the Java, what is the status of Java, whether it's doing something. This kind of information you can use telnet. Yeah, it's quite useful tool also. Okay, first tool which we are going to see is config tool. To use the config tool, the config tool is used to maintain the setting of SAP application server Java in the database. It is therefore necessary to keep the database running, okay, when you are making any changes. And the meaning to say, this is a prerequisite for using this tool. The database must be running. If any changes done in application server Java, it should be stopped. Okay, and using this Java config tool, we can use using the Java config tool, we can configure Java VM setting configuration, and we can also configure the services and managers of Java. In the sense, the VM setting is the setting of virtual machine of Java. In general, we can say the VM setting can be done only by the config tool. Yeah, you can use the config tool to configure and manage managers and services of application server Java as well. And let's say if you do the configurations, once you've done the configuration, then you need to restart the Netweaver Java to make that changes effective, because you are making the changes in the core Java. Yeah? You need to restart the server, and in order to log into the config tool, you need a username and password for the Java admin, and you need to, and this particular program, this needs to be executed in the central instance only. Yeah. So using this username and password is basically the password you will define when you install the Java application, Java SAP server. You will have a master user ID. You can also create additional admin users. The master user ID you will create, and you will also specify this password. That using that one you can log into this config tool. The second application, the second tool what we are going to see is Netweaver Administrator, the SAP Netweaver Administrator. The SAP Netweaver Administrator, that is NWA, combines the most important administration and monitoring tool in SAP as well as in ABAP systems. Yeah. Uh, as well as in ABAP system, because it is a browser based interface, which is most important benefits. One of the most important, this is one of the most important benefits which is offered by Netweaver. Using this tool, you no longer need to switch between different tools of administration for troubleshooting, and the problem analysis of your entire Netweaver system landscape, entire Netweaver landscape is centralized in one specific browser based application. Yeah, that's a interesting part of it. And instead you have a Java and increasingly for ABAP systems a central cross landscape administration tool, and this also used for ABAP systems quite largely nowadays, because you can have centralized cross landscape administration within the tool. Yeah. For example, starting and stopping your instances, and check configuration settings and logs and monitorings, and these are all we can use it from the NWA itself. Basically the MWA displays all the monitoring infrastructures, for example alerts uh, which can be current alert or historical value historical alerts can be centrally monitored. Main advantage is, as you see, that we can use a web browser for our web for monitoring these things. And anyway, this works on a WebDyn Pro application. This is basically a WebDyn Pro program where you can use it through this browsers. And this is the prerequisite is to in order to run this Netweaver administration, that you need to have database running, and you also need to have application Java must be running, because this is running in your application server Java. This is basically, as we said, the use to display the VM settings. It can also display or change the services and manage the properties. You can start and stop the cluster elements of your Java. You can also start and stop Java instances, and you can also start and stop the applications of Java. Okay, this is quite useful. This is quite useful tool in order to administrate the Java. Let's say if you go to the web browser, you go to any your Java instance, and type in saying the HTTP, then slash, then the host name. Here we have IP address or host name, then colon 540s, then slash NWA, then you will come to this screen. We will see in the system how we can call this in the how we can use this tool. Let's see the next tool what we have. The next tool is Virtual Administrator. Basically, with Virtual Administrator you can log on to P4 port of AS application server Java instance. You will see this P4 port configuration in many of the places. Let's say if you are doing HTTP tunneling and stuff like this, then you will see the P4 port enabled in which is used in the Java. So therefore yes, the application server Java instance must be started in order to run the virtual administrator, and the virtual administrator can also be installed in a host which has a Java instance running. In this way, let's say if you install it like that, it can be remotely administrated, and you can use the virtual administrator to configure services and managers of yes, your Java instance. uh, then you can also do the parameter changes, and for the runtime environment, if you have something which is which can be effective during the runtime, you can also change you can also use this tool to start and stop the services of Java. However, you cannot change the virtual machine parameters within the visual administrator. Yeah. Mm, so you can see the details here. You basically you most of the time what we will use the visual administrator is all the most of the parameters which is basically can be changed in the runtime environment while the system is running. Yeah, it's like our dynamic parameters which we have seen in our ABAP parameter changes. As I said before, when we see in our previous lessons that you do not need to remember all these parameters. Like it's hard that we go through each and every parameters because there's quite a lot. We cannot go through this in this course. However, it's quite easy. Like say when you install new applications, then you will have prerequisites that you need to set up these parameters and stuff like this. Then you go and look for that specific parameters based on your requirement. Otherwise, we generally don't get into here until unless you have a problem or you wanted to configure something. The next tool which we are going to talk about is this shell console. As I said, the shell console is basically telnet software. The telnet is basically you can use any telnet. Almost all the basic operating system has telnet. Using the telnet, you can log into Java shell, and you can execute some commands. You can basically you cannot really do big administration there. You can see the status of the system, and you can start and stop the system. Let's say if you do not have any other possibility to open the other applications or other tools which we have seen, then telnet will be a very easy way to do, because telnet you can simply execute and from any system from your network, and you can directly log into the Java shell and find out what is exactly happening. Yeah. This is actually quite useful in case of yeah, in the time of emergency situations. It will be quite useful. Maybe we can go get into our system and see how we can use these tools. First, let's go to our system. Okay, now we log into our system. Let me close this SAP GUI. Okay, first we will see the config tool. Yeah, the config tool is basically in the operating system. You can run it from the command prompt, or you can just go to the Windows Explorer. Then we go to USR SAP, that is USR SAP, and we go to SID, and inside SID you have central instance. You have you can see this is a central instance, and then you go to J2EE. There you have config tool. Yeah, this folder. So inside this config tool you have something called config tool.bat. You simply double click here, then it will open up the server that you can see here, SAP J2E engine config tool. You will get this pop-up message that do you want to use the default settings of your database. So basically what we are seeing is prerequisites that your database should be running. So if you do not want to use the default setting, you can have a customized user setting, but generally we don't do much there, because in our case, for example, we have our database also sitting in the same server. Yeah, so you want to use the default setting, I'll say yes. Then it will connect to the database. You can see there it is connecting to the database. It will connect to the database, and the configuration tool will open. Yeah, it's a specific tool for your J2E engine. You can see the J2 engine configuration tool is started. Okay, now here so right now it's started. Let's say if you, when you were starting the server, if we got this message, if you have a custom for example, if you have a custom configuration you want to connect to there, then you can use this one to connect the database. Yeah, this connect to the DB, then it will connect to the database. Anyway, now we are connected. So once it is started, then you can do a lot of configuration here. Yeah, you have global configuration and dispatcher configuration and the instances configuration. For example, if you go here, there's quite a lot of parameters which is available for let's open here. These are all the services which we are talking about. Let's say, for example, this is Adobe documentation service. Yeah, so if you have some parameters which you need to maintain for this Adobe documentation service, then you can maintain it here. Then you can see the this is the parameter, yeah, which right now which we have selected. This is the parameter, and or sorry, this is the service which is running, and this is the key, and this is the default value. If you like to change, then you can change the values here. Yeah, if right now it is 4094, then you can change the value to a different value. Yeah, so that is the services. Same like services, you also have managers, so different managers. We have configuration manager, then cluster manager, kind of different manager, load manager, pool manager, and service manager. These different managers used for different purposes in your Java applications. Then you can also manage the service managers from this console. So either the services or the managers, you can manage it from this console. That's what you mean to say. Okay, so this is about config tool. As I said, we will not get into more detail at the moment with this the parameters what we need to change. Again, that depends on what kind of Java application you are going to use in the SAP server, or you are going to install in the SAP server. So the next tool what we are going to see is Netweaver Administrator. So let us close this tool. We can simply close this. So it's gone. Next one is Netweaver Administrator. As we see, Netweaver Administrator is a browser based tool. So if I open the Internet Explorer, then I will type in the host address, that is http:// then your host name, that is ECC demo. This is our host name. If you go to the normal, sorry, again, http:// host name, that is ECC demo. Then we need to specify the port address. The port address, where the NWA is running is 500. Sorry, 5 4 zeros. Okay, 4 zeros. So if you type in only 5 4 zeros, that will come to the index where we already seen. You can check the whole detail of the SAP system, where system information for the web application server. If you want to go to NWA, here you say /NWA. If you go to NWA, then here you need to log in with the user ID and password. In case in our previous config tool, it did not use it did not ask for the user ID and password, because we already logged into the system, this specific SAP server, using the SID ADM username. Okay, when we logged in, you have seen this ECC ADM, that is the SID ADM user. So if you log in through the SID ADM user in the config tool, you do not need to provide the user ID and password. Basically, you can call the config tool only from the SID ADM. Okay, here you can call this specific URL from any system from the same network, yeah, or if it is allowed from a different network, then you can call this URL. Here you need to specify the user ID and password. Our admin J2E admin user is J2E underscore admin. We specify the J2E underscore admin user and specify the password and say you log in. Then it will log into the NWA console. Okay, here here you can see some warning message: system landscape directory is not accessible. The reason is that you can create a landscape within the NWA, whereas you can monitor everything centrally. That's what we have seen. Yeah, so here you can see different options available: administrator and monitoring and configuration. So you can do quite a lot of tasks here. If you go to administration, you can see the system administration, application, identity management. Identity management basically creating your users and assigning roles within the portal itself. That can be done here, or then if you go to monitoring, you can also you have quite a lot of monitoring. You have availability, central report, Java system report, and you also have logs and trace. It's quite useful. Yeah, this logs and trace, like you have different logs, SAP logs, and if you see here, it's quite useful logs. You have quite a lot of informations, and you can also see that we got an SLD warning that SLD is not available when we logged in. Still there is as a warning, but it's not an error. And we can also do configuration in this configuration tab. Yeah, you can create logon group for Java and system properties, log configuration. You can do quite a lot of operations within NWA, but you need to explore this what is possible. Again, depends on the environment which you are going to use, which you are going to be in. Then you will get into this in more details. So at this moment, our objective is to understand there is a tool, then how we can use that one. Okay. Okay, that is about Netweaver Administrator. Then let's go to the next tool. That is what we have seen is, okay, Virtual Administrator. The Virtual Administrator's tool which administrate and configure application server Java. That's what we have seen. So in order to start the Virtual Administrator, let's go to Windows Explorer. Then you will go to USR SAP and SID, then central system, then go to J2EE, then go to admin. Okay, here you have a batch file which is called go.bat. Okay, just simply double click this one, then it will start the Virtual Administrator. Okay, so now the Virtual Administrator is started. Now we have a screen which says that you create connect to SAP J2EE engine. Yeah, so whenever you install a new SAP system, you need to create the connector for this Virtual Administrator, which server you are going to connect. Okay, and the server which we have is a fresh system. That's the reason we do not have any server configured here. So this is, you need to create this server in the Virtual Administrator where you want to connect. Okay, right now you get to this screen where you say new, then you can specify your name. Let's say ECC. Okay, that is our name. Let's say next. Okay, there you need to specify the username, that is j2ee underscore admin, that is our user. Host is local host, or you can say local host or ECC demo. Then the port number is 50004. Okay, and okay, now if you say save, now you have created the new system. Now if you simply like this, you can create more systems. Yeah. Okay, now you can select this particular system and you can say connect. It will connect. In our case, we don't need to do that anyway because we have only one system. You can use the default connector. If you say connect, then this is the username and we specify the password. We have all the information which we wanted to specify it here. Then we specify, give the password. Meaning to say the virtual administrator does not need to be connected from the same host. You can connect from the different host itself. So now right now if you see, now it's connected. You can see all the server details. Yeah, this is a server, this IP address, and this the host name is running. The kernel managers and the interface, that is the interfaces which is running, the libraries and the services. Okay. This is how to call the visual administrator, and you can manage, you can specify or you can change the parameter values in this particular particular services. Wherever you wanted to do any changes, you can make the changes here. Okay, this is visual administrator. Let's close this one. Next one we will be looking into the next one we will be looking at shell console administrator. For shell console administrator, you will go to command prompt and you type in telnet, TLNET. Then you need to specify ECC demo, the host name. Then you need to specify the port address. Port address for telnet is 50008. So telnet works in this particular port with the Java application. Then you can, telnet is basically, it's not from SAP. Telnet is a standard protocol which you can use it for logging into that specific host and with the port address. Enter it. Now you can see that we are logging in directly into the SAP J2E engine shell. Then you need to specify the user ID. Our user ID is J22EE underscore admin. Then we need to specify the password. Okay, now we are in the shellnet telnet console in the shell. Here you can execute the commands. Yeah, let's say some commands. Let's version. Now it will display, give you the version, SAP J2E engine version 7.00, and this is the patch level. So it's quite easy to get the information. Actually telnet is quite fast. The people who works on command prompt, people who like to work on the prompts, command prompts, this is quite useful. There are several commands, but you need to read about this commands, which is also available in our help sap.com. There is something called SCN in SAP, where you'll find a lot of information. You can also raise your queries in SAP, and people will help you to answer the questions. So if you need something, you can go on to SCN and try to search for some information. Yeah. Okay, let's try one more command. I want the status of the our Java engine. So if I type in the command lsc, okay, it gives the status. It's a dispatcher, and it has one dispatcher and one server, and this is a server ID and the specific detail, what port it is working. This is a server, this is a dispatcher, and status is presently running. This is the host it is running, this is the IP address of this particular system. And what is like dispatcher anyway does not have any port address, but the server, you have the port address, in which port it is running, what type of application services it is running. Like this you can find the status. Is quite easy. Instead of going into different screens, and if you are in a different server, you can directly log into your SAP J2E engine shell, and you can find out these informations. Okay, if you want to come out, then you simply type exit. And now you come to the command prompt. That ends the command prompt. Okay, with this we are coming to the end of the session. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next session. Bye bye.